Number 8. Pavel Kashin. Pavel Kashin was at one point considered one of the best parkour athletes in the world. The St. Petersburg tracer was known for pushing the boundaries of the discipline. It was this drive that eventually led to his untimely death in 2013. At the time, Kashin was performing a backflip on the narrow ledge of a 16th floor building. Unfortunately, he lost his footing in the landing, which caused him to plummet more than 200 feet below. A haunting photo of the tracer's final moments, showing him in mid-air, started circulating online in the aftermath of his death. Kashin's parents allowed its release, hoping it would act as a deterrent to anyone who considered performing similarly dangerous stunts. Parkour is a discipline of movement that involves physically navigating the obstacles in a given environment in an effective and imaginative manner. It grew out of military obstacle training called Parcours du Combattant, from which its current name has been adapted. Parkour eventually evolved into a separate discipline. Practitioners called tracers flow through the environment performing a wide array of movements such as running, climbing, jumping, vaulting, crawling, or swinging. There are numerous benefits associated with parkour, but the discipline is not without risks. The physical dangers range from scrapes and bruises to sprains, fractures, and even deadly falls. Number 7. Yuri Eliseev. Yuri Eliseev was a chess prodigy who at only 17 was awarded the title of Grandmaster. He had previously won the Under-16 World Youth Chess Championship. After achieving the highest level in chess, Eliseev found a new passion and became completely absorbed by the world of parkour. His social media would show him climbing balconies and even hanging by one hand from the edge of a building. In November of 2016, Eliseev was attempting a parkour stunt in his Moscow apartment building. It involved jumping from a window to a balcony. Unfortunately, the 20-year-old slipped and suffered a deadly fall from the 12th floor. Number 6. Johnny Turner. Johnny Sniper Turner was regarded on the London scene as a pioneer of the city's parkour and urban exploration movement. He'd climbed a number of the city's landmarks such as the Barbican and Battersea Power Station. In September of 2019, the parkour athlete fell to his death from scaffolding in central London. The circumstances surrounding the accident remain unclear, but it's believed that the 28-year-old had lost his footing during a parkour stunt in the city's Waterloo district. Turner was hailed by many as an inspiration, and in the incident's aftermath, several dozen parkour enthusiasts met to pay their respects. Parkour can be practiced anywhere in the world and may be adapted to any environment, but is traditionally performed in an urban landscape. Free running, which is derived from parkour, adds stylish acrobatics such as flips and spins to showcase the art of movement. Tracers will create their path through the obstacles in gyms, playgrounds, parks, as well as various buildings and abandoned structures. The historical origins of parkour in the Western world can be traced back to Georges Herbert, a French naval officer and physical education pioneer. Prior to World War I, he proposed a new athletic program based on the indigenous tribes he'd met in Africa. He noticed that they were extremely strong, flexible, and durable, even though their only form of training was life in nature. Herbert developed his natural method to emulate their physical prowess. It gradually became the standard in French military education. The method inspired Raymond Bell, who passed on his training philosophy to his son, David, considered the founder of the parkour movement. David Bell and his group called Yamakasi popularized the discipline and it became a global phenomenon. Number 5. Parkour accident in Russia. In 2012, an unnamed Russian woman fell to her death during what was allegedly her first parkour experience. The 24-year-old and her sister were with a group of parkour practitioners who, after exhibiting their skills, asked the women to join in. The stunt, which took place on Martinovskaya Street in St. Petersburg, involved jumping from the roof onto the protruding eaves of the building below. Her older sister refused to take part in it, but the younger woman accepted the challenge. She ran towards the ledge and jumped, but tragically failed to reach the building. The woman fell to her death 17 floors. The men who'd encouraged her to jump quickly fled the scene. When news of the accident started to spread, many in the parkour community were shocked that the woman had agreed to such a dangerous jump on her first try. When training for these stunts, practitioners typically start from a manageable height and then gradually move up. Number 4. Sergei Shurikov. Parkour practitioner Sergei Shurikov narrowly escaped with his life while jumping from ledge to ledge atop a high-rise in Russia. It was during this daring run that Shurikov lost his footing and almost fell to his death 25 floors. While holding a GoPro in his mouth, the Russian tracer performed several successful jumps before he stumbled into some electrical wires. In a split second, the tracer managed to grab hold of them. It was this quick reaction that prevented him from falling roughly 280 feet below. Even though he sustained repeated electric shocks, Shurikov didn't let go. He was helped up by a friend who was with him. The stunt left the athlete with minor injuries, but the outcome could have been far worse. The risk of injury in parkour is ever present, even for experienced practitioners. It's a logical progression for a tracer to take on more challenging obstacles as their skill level develops. Sprains, scrapes, and bruises are common occurrences. Jumping and missing the landing can result in broken bones and severe, potentially fatal head injuries. A study of parkour-related visits to the emergency room found that most were caused by striking objects or bad landings. The greatest risk associated with the discipline stems from training at height on rooftops and other tall structures. It sometimes involves jumping from one building to another at considerable heights. There's virtually no room for error when doing so, and any misstep can result in a deadly fall. Number 3. Tolya. In March of 2016, a Russian teenager only identified as Tolya by local media was involved in a fatal parkour accident. Tolya was known for daring stunts such as doing handstands on the edges of buildings or hanging from tall structures by only using one arm. Unfortunately, one of these daring tricks ultimately ended the 13-year-old's life. He was trying to impress his friends by hanging from the side of a derelict building while only using his fingertips. As Tolya tried to pull himself up, a brick became loose and he fell 100 feet onto the concrete path below. Police officers, who believed that alcohol might have played a role in the tragic stunt, launched an investigation into his death. Today's topic was requested by David Plachowski and Benjamin Coe. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Ray Conner. In August of 2019, Ray Conner was working on a multi-million-dollar yacht, which had docked in Imperia, Italy. The vessel, called the Motor Yacht Hampshire II, belonged to billionaire Sir James Ratcliffe, one of the UK's wealthiest people. He wasn't aboard at the time. Conner, a parkour enthusiast, left the yacht and shortly afterwards sent videos to his sister from the rooftop of the Maritime Museum building. She became concerned and the yacht's crew raised the alarm when Conner didn't return for duty. He was reported missing and a search was launched. His body was eventually found in the Maritime Museum building, where Conner had landed after suffering a fatal 30-foot fall. It's believed that as he was exploring the top of the building, the 23-year-old fell through a plastic roof covering. It was reported that the young man had died instantly. If self-control and mastery of one's environment are the overall goals, getting injured has been described by parkour experts as a deviation from the discipline's central philosophy. Practicing parkour safely relies not only on physical fitness and spatial awareness, but also on a realistic assessment of your skill level. This means scaling your moves appropriately when drawing a path, as well as properly assessing any potential dangers in the environment. There are numerous ways in which to approach an obstacle, and you should properly balance the risk and reward. Videos of highly skilled and dynamic tracers should serve as an object of motivation, not imitation. The moves they perform are rigorously trained and practiced. Learning how to land and fall safely is a crucial component of training as a way of avoiding injury, particularly in case you need to escape a movement that has gone bad. Training at height has become an enticing component of parkour, but a number of experts discourage it since the risks are too great. Join the They Will Kill You team by rocking the latest merch from theywillkillyou.com. Order yours today to be one of the first to spread the word. Number 1. Nye Frankie Newman. In late December of 2017, teenage tracer Nye Frankie Newman and several of his friends traveled to Paris, France. While in the birth country of parkour, the 17-year-old suffered a fatal accident during a stunt that took place on the city's metro. Newman and his friends were on a train bound for the Eiffel Tower, where they were going to watch the New Year's Eve fireworks display. It was reported that another teenager with whom Newman and his friends were staying undid the lock between carriages using a skeleton key. Newman climbed up between two carriages in order to take a selfie. Unfortunately, as he poked his head up, the teen was struck by an object. He fell on the metal poles that separated the carriages. According to his friends, Newman's clothes were soaked in blood and he looked unresponsive. He was kept on life support until his mother arrived in the French capital the following day and was subsequently pronounced dead. Thanks for watching. Would you rather practice parkour on the rooftops in your neighborhood or swim in a lake with a group of hippos? Let us know in the comments section below.